Atheists often claim that there is no evidence that the God of the Bible exists. However, the Bible is full of statements that are verifiable in the modern world. In Genesis 17, for example, God makes an agreement with the Jews that He says will last forever. If the Jews cease to exist, it would cast doubt on God's existence. Virtually all ancient people groups disappeared by being assimilated into new cultures. The Etruscans, the Babylonians, the Akkadians, the list goes on and on. They've all disappeared. They've all disappeared except the Jews. Despite all odds, they continue to exist. So far, Genesis 17 is verified. Around the year 30 AD, Jesus made at least 5 verifiable statements about the future of the Jews recorded in Luke 21. He predicted that Jerusalem would be destroyed. In 70 AD, Jerusalem was destroyed. So this prediction of Jesus was verified. 2. Jews would be dispersed, Jesus predicted. The Jewish people were forced out and prevented from returning to their homeland from 70 AD until 1989. So this prediction of Jesus was historically verified. Number 3, Jews would be brutalized everywhere they went, Jesus predicted. The Jews endured countless persecutions throughout the last 2,000 years. The best known are the pogroms in the late 1800s and early 1900s, and the Holocaust in the 30s and the 40s. So this prediction of Jesus is also verified by history. Number 4, Jesus predicted that Jerusalem would be controlled by Gentiles. Jerusalem was controlled by Gentile rulers for 1,878 years. Here are a few of them: Roman, Byzantine, Persian, Arab, Crusaders, Mamluk, Ottoman, British. So this prediction of Jesus is also historically verified. Number 5, the most impossible: Jews would someday regain control of Jerusalem. Jerusalem was beaten in 70 AD and ultimately lost in 136 AD, but in 1967, Jerusalem was brought back under Jewish control. This impossible prediction of Jesus's is verified by history. Deuteronomy 4 says that the Jews would stay small in number during the time that they are away from the land of Israel. From 200 to 1800 AD, world population grew from 170 million to near a billion. Despite this incredible growth, Jewish population stayed around a million for 1,600 years. Jewish population should have grown by a factor of 5, but instead, they remained small in number, just as Deuteronomy 4 predicted. This trend continued until the Jews began to return to Israel, which was also predicted. In Deuteronomy 30, it says that once the people have returned to the land of Israel, they would become more numerous than their forefathers. In the century before the modern state of Israel was established, the Jewish population began to skyrocket. Now that there is a Jewish homeland, there are more Jews living there and in the world than there have ever been in all of history. This is exactly what Deuteronomy 30 predicted. In Genesis 12, God promises that all people on earth will be blessed through the Jews. One way that Jews have blessed the world is through their inventions and discoveries. Inventions by Jews include the pacemaker, the defibrillator, genetic engineering, stainless steel, lasers, E=mc², the cholera, bubonic plague, and polio vaccines, nuclear energy, Google, the flash drive, drip irrigation, and thousands more. Jews only make up 0.02% of the world population, but have won 20% of the Nobel Prizes. They have blessed the world just as Genesis 12 predicted. There are hundreds of these types of verifiable statements in the Bible, such as Amos 9 says the ruins of Israel would be rebuilt. This started in 1882. Now the nation ranks in the top 8% of the world on the Human Development Index. Ezekiel 36 says that the prosperity of Israel would return. Israel's GDP per capita now ranks in the top 11% of the world. Isaiah 41 says trees would grow in Israel once more. In 1867, Mark Twain called Israel a silent, mournful expanse. There was hardly a tree or a shrub anywhere. However, the Jewish National Fund estimates that now 240 million trees have been planted in Israel since 1901. Isaiah 51 said their deserts would become lush. What was once desert is now high-production farmland through the use of precision agriculture and advanced technology. Isaiah 27 says Israel's fruit would fill the world, which wasn't even technologically possible when it was written thousands of years ago. Israel not only exports fruits and flowers all over the world today, but the Israeli-developed technology to grow these are being used almost everywhere modern agriculture is happening. So, to claim that there is no evidence that the God of the Bible exists is really quite ridiculous.